Hey.
Married to music.
Hey.
Okay,
ad-lib. Married to music. Married to music.
Come on,
That's how
come
we
on.
do it. Married to music. Trying to get them M's up. Trying to get them M's up.
Music, money, marriage on a Monday. That Remy doing what it's supposed to do, ain't
What,
it?
Remy? This ain't sponsored by Remy, man. What you talking about?
Them libations doing what they supposed to do, ain't they?
See, this why you can't be working with your spouse, man. Which is what today's episode is about, y'all.
It is. You guys
How to ruin a happy home.
Oh, stop it. You guys have asked for this since we started this podcast. Some of the first requests we got is, how do y'all work? How do y'all do it?
How y'all work together and be in a relationship, like y'all couple goals and stuff. People tell me that all the time. They want to know what's the secret sauce between us, you know, how we build our businesses, how we manage our family, how we manage our relationship between each other.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna
we're gonna talk about it and give up all our secrets, man. I don't know. I think we should write a book first or something. I don't know. You want to put this in a podcast?
Well, here's the thing.
All right.
We only have like 30, 40 minutes for this podcast, so they're definitely not going to get what they would get in a book. I'm saying we can give them some if we still could write a book too.
We don't know how long this gonna be. You gonna try to limit us, man? Shout out to her for trying to limit us. Hold up. What? Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? We don't condone violence, but. Let me just stop real quick and give a shout out to Sweetwater.
Our sponsors.
Yo, Sweetwater is sponsoring this episode, sponsoring the Married to Music podcast. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm recording this podcast on this whole portable Mixcast 4. It's a Tascam really cool. Mixcast 4. It allows me to do all these sound effects and stuff. Man, I can just trigger them, and it's recording the whole podcast on the SD card, right?
Dope.
We got 4 microphone inputs. We got 4 headphone outputs. You can mix everything, record everything to a stereo track, or multi-track it, which is important, so you can mix it later if you want to, man. It's like super useful, very functional.
Yeah.
The Tascam Mixcast 4. Shout out to Sweetwater for providing this today.
Shout out to this commercial. A quick commercial. Gotta pay them bills.
You know what I'm talking about. But I really like this thing, man. So if anybody's interested in podcasting,
this is really it. It's super dope.
And you know I'm a Sweetwater affiliate, so
use the affiliate link.
If you're gonna buy anything. Yeah. And shout out to our headphone sponsor.
Wavy Wayne.
The
Wavy Wayne Audio, the Wavy Ones. These are the Wavy Ones. There's some Wavy One boxes right here. These are actually available for sale on wavywayne.com.
Wavywayne.com.
They're noise canceling.
Yes.
They are great for recording, and they're also great for mixing, and they're also great for the artist in the booth. Wow. So get 3 pairs.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Clap it up for that. 3 pairs.
Get 3 pairs.
I'm learning my triggers a little bit better.
Job,
you know
baby.
what I'm saying? All right, yeah. Shout out to y'all, though, for tapping in with us, man, because this episode is actually special. I know it's something that everybody want to see. They want to know, like, because, like you said already, they be asking.
They ask all the time.
How y'all do it, you know? So let's break it down.
This episode we're gonna just break it down. Music, money, and marriage is gonna be woven in throughout this whole podcast episode. So we're not gonna normally we break it down like music section, money section, marriage section. This whole thing is gonna be music, money.
Because that's us. We are music, money, and marriage all at the same
We
time.
are. Naturally, we are. And one thing that I will say just to start it off is that, you know, Wayne and I never tried to do this, right? It's just organically happened. It was divine. It was meant to be. So that's the first thing that I'll say is.
What you mean by that though? You got to dive deeper.
I just mean
we ain't tried to do it.
We never sat down and said, okay, we're gonna do music together, and we're gonna balance a budget, and we're gonna get married, and we're gonna execute on a high level on all 3 of those things. It just life led us here, and we had to learn how to balance these things in a natural way.
Okay, and so now you saying that we learned along the way, and because we didn't make a lot of stuff intentional in the beginning, right? Like a lot of stuff wasn't intentional,
right?
Which is not necessarily what we are advising y'all to go out and do, not be intentional and just let love lead the way. Like ideally you want kind of a proven set of guidelines, or you know what I mean, maybe somebody that's walked the path before you that can say, hey, look out for this, look out for that.
Yeah, and I mean, and this episode can help be that for sure.
Yeah.
Just because we've learned we've learned through action. So there may have been, some times that it was challenging.
Yeah.
But we've learned, and I love that you said intentional. So let's just start with that.
Okay.
One of the main things that helps the balancing act is setting aside intentional time,
Yeah.
right? So, for example, and a lot of you know this, if you follow me and Wayne, you know we have our date night. Every Monday night is date night. And honestly, let me tell you something. This was learned from my parents. For me, when I was growing up, every single Tuesday night was my parents' date night. My Aunt Robin would come over, and I mean like clockwork for like my entire childhood. My parents dated every single Tuesday night. When I was a little tiny child, I hated it because I was obsessed with my mom. I hated that she would leave the house. I was like jealous. Why is she leaving with him? Why is he taking her away from us? But I watched that happen. And so that's something that we adopted in our relationship every Monday night, date night. And I think date night is so important. What do you think about date night?
I definitely think it's important. Just like anything else like that you want to do and succeed in, you have to plan for it, right? And so with a relationship, I feel like it's no different. When you courting, you plan a date, right?
Right.
You have those that, hey, let's meet up Tuesday, or I got these tickets for us next week for this. So you have that planning, but then once you like get married and you with somebody every day, it's easy to not plan stuff
For sure.
with each other,
Right.
Because it seems like you kind of take it like for granted to where like obviously we gonna hang out, like it's like
Right. We're always
no.
together anyway.
But once we get busy and tied up in career, and then you bring kids into the picture and all this other stuff that we have to manage and deal with on a daily basis, then the thing that brought us together sometimes can get overlooked. And
Yes.
so if we don't take intentional time for it, then what I mean to say is that taking intentional time for it definitely is. I think it's super important.
It is. And when we go out on Monday nights, we have like conversations,
Yeah.
like real conversations. Like you may say, oh, I'm always with my spouse. We're at the house. We talk over dinner with the kids. We talk in passing. We talk at night, pillow talk, or whatever the case may be, right? But setting aside that intentional date night time, it opens up the window for you to be able to have conversations that you want to have that may not be able to be had around the kids, or that may not be able to be had around, in passing in the mornings when you're getting ready to go about your day. You may be able to say to yourself, okay, you know what? I want to talk to my husband or my wife about this, and I'm going to use date night as a moment to actually have the conversations that I want to have, or even just forget about things. You know what I mean? Just like order cocktails and good steaks and like good food, and just get lost in however many hours are set aside for your date night time. So what is like one of your favorite things about date night?
Oh man, I don't know what kind of podcast is this again. Shout out to our sponsor, Sweetwater.
I already know what you finna say.
Nah, I mean,
Probably my favorite part too, though, to be honest.
hey, what you talking about? The steaks?
No.
I love steaks. I love steak. I love getting out. But no, I mean, to me, the favorite part obviously is the intent. The intent, just the intent to stop whatever you're doing and say, hey, this is important to me.
Yeah. For sure.
Hey, what we have is important. Like, I value this time together. Like, this creates something for me. So the intent, more than anything, is what
For sure.
is valuable.
And that is something that's really important to note as well. Like, time is the one thing you can't get back, right? You can always make more money. You can always create more experiences and stuff like that, but you can't get time back. So really investing time in your partner says a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like completely honest. Like, one of my favorite parts of date night is after the date.
What happens after the date?
It goes down on date night when you
even
get
know-
back
I
home.
don't even know
No,
what
but you know,
sound effect to use.
no, but you know what though? I want to say this because a lot of people say like, when you get married, you stop having sex. That's what people say.
People say that?
You know people say that.
I don't know what kind of people is them.
I know.
I don't know. Who says that?
Who are y'all?
What y'all doing?
What are y'all doing? But no, but people really do say this, and I'm guessing that they say it because it's true. And I also can see how it can happen in a sense of like, it becomes like your lives just become so much more than what they were when you were just dating and like having fun, having sex, going out. Like when you first start dating somebody, that's really all it is. It's just fun. Like, you know, you go out on dates a lot, you have a lot of sex, you just have fun. And then time passes, you get married, you have children and you have a home, and it becomes about work, it becomes about the house, it becomes about the children. And I can understand how at the end of the day, like at the end of our days, we be exhausted.
Right.
Like we both have long days. You leave the house in the morning, you go to Wavy Enterprises and you build it a whole entire, you know, you build an empire. And I'm at home with Amara and still trying to build my empire as well. So we're both really busy. And so at the end of the day, it can be like there are some nights where we just come home and after we eat dinner and talk and laugh a little bit, we go right to sleep in the bed. There are those nights.
Because we grown. You need those nights.
Need those
like,
nights.
Grown people need their sleep.
Right.
And so I'm intentional about the sleep too.
Right. We both are. We
both
love our sleep.
You got to cut that all that out. I'm trying to go to sleep.
You know, but on date nights, pretty much every date night, you can guarantee it's going to go down in a special way because look, don't be trying to sugarcoat it for the people. Tell them the truth. They want to know.
But also too though, I want it to be like to where it's like it's mandatory. You know,
I didn't say that
because that feels like extortion. You know,
I never
all
said
types of.
It is organically. It organically just happens like that because we're usually a little bit sauced up after date night.
Shout out to the sauce, man.
Look, I'm pulling Wayne all the way out of his comfort zone. He's
Shout
like,
out to
we
the
cannot
sauce.
be talking about sex in front of people. But, I mean, that's a part of marriage. It is what it is. We're grown here. Okay? Married people need to be having sex and good sex. Hot, freaky, nasty sex. If you're not doing that, I mean... if you're not doing that, your marriage will not last very long. Like, that's very important. It can't be hot and sexy in the beginning. And then after time passes by, it gets corny.
Right.
Or rehearsed. You
got to keep spicing it up.
It has to stay super
You like
sexy.
the suplex that I pulled the other day off the top rope down into the...
What you talking about?
You don't remember that move with the swirl?
The swirl. You talking about... He is doing a whole Seinfeld episode right now.
Oh man, shout out to the swirl, man. Shout out to the swirl, man. If y'all know about the swirl, tap in. All right, but yes, date night and being intentional about spending time with each other
is important.
It's important. So just with anything. So when we talk about balance, right? I was talking to my man Jarrell the other day, man. My bad. I was talking to Jay about this the other day.
Can't be saying government.
Don't kill me about this. So shout out to my man Jay. But we was talking about, man, how balance, right? Do we really even want to balance? Do I want to balance my relationship and try to balance my career and balance time together? And I thought about this because of something that Mason said. Our son Mason, right, 9 years old, third grade. He said he was in science class one day and he came home. I was like, "What you learned today?" And he said, "Daddy, I learned about balance." And I was like, "Okay, that's interesting. What is balance?" Well, he said, balance means that something ain't moving. Because when only things that are unbalanced are moving. And I was like, dang, that's you hit me on a whole nother
mouth
level.
Of babes.
You just hit me on a whole nother level because I never thought about balance like that. And so many people say, "Oh, you got to try to balance your thing and balance." But like, if we balancing, are we growing?
Right.
In what areas are we growing if we balance? And if we just trying to hold on to this and hold on to that at the same time, how we balance, right? So that's why I'm like, the intentional time and setting plans for stuff, it ain't about balancing. It's about being able to go hard and focus and go all the way in, dive
one thing
deep
at a
on
time.
one thing at a time. Like instead of trying to balance these
So what should we say?
multiple things.
Seesaw? Should we say seesaw?
A seesaw, no, unbalanced.
A
the
seesaw.
way
I don't know.
the way to success to me is being unbalanced. Because you got to go hard 100% on whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that's important to you. Now, it might be several things that's important to you.
Right.
But it's not about balancing. It's about giving everything that you have to those things.
Well, here's the thing. Here's where the word balance comes in. Because let's say there's 5 things and you go 100% in the moment on one thing and then 100% of the moment on the next and then back around.
Right.
That is in essence, you're balancing all those things because
you're
you're giving them
trying
each. You're giving them each the same 100%, right? And so at the end of the day, if you keep going around, they're all staying afloat because,
Right.
You know what I mean? So I guess that's where
But that hinders the growth,
what hinder? How does it
the
hinder?
balance. Because then you putting 10% here and 10%
No,
here and 10%
I'm not
back.
saying that. What I'm saying is you're giving 100% to this in that moment.
Right.
And then when it's the next a moment, the next thing's turn, you give 100% to that.
Right.
And then when it's, so like date nights, we give 100% to each other.
Right.
We also have, every Thursday night, we have family movie night
Absolutely.
where we give 100% to our family in
Right.
that moment, right? And then when you go to work, you give 100% to your work. And then there's times where I'm at home where I was reading time with Amara, I'm giving 100% to Amara. So when you're giving when you're giving 100% to each of those things
Right.
in their delegated times,
But that ain't balanced.
you are balancing.
Nah,
of
that ain't
course
balanced.
you are.
That's allowing for things to be unbalanced. That's constantly and intentionally unbalancing things.
Okay, well, the reason why I would say people use the word balance is because I think of like a waitress, maybe because I used to wait tables, and I loved waiting tables. Like shout out
Make
to
sure
all
y'all
the
tip to waitress.
shout out to all the waitresses and waiters out there. That was one of my favorite jobs in life. If it ever came down to it, and I had to like go back into the workforce, that's what I would do because I love waiting on people and just talking to people in general.
I tip.
But yes, and we also are great tippers. But when you're a waitress, right, you have trays. Like I always worked in restaurants with tray service. Some of the waiters be having plates up and down their arms. I can't do that. But the trays, right, you have 5 different things on the tray at a time. Each tray may have 5 different things. And you have to execute and carry them, all them things,
Right.
over to your guests and serve it to them, right? So you have a lot of things going on in your hands at the same time, and then none of them fall if you can balance well. So I think that's where it's more of like a creative use of the word balance more than the scientific word use.
But the way I'm looking at it too, I'm like thinking like, dang, I would have ordered the tomahawk. You would have to bring that out by yourself. You not balancing that with nothing. So
I have to know,
the
but
plate that I want is so big, I can't balance it with nothing else.
but that's not the case.
I gotta give 100%
to the
to
tomahawk.
the tomahawk. We might have to wheel that thing out.
But the tomahawk,
You ain't
still
holding
comes-
the tomahawk on one hand
No,
and all
but you
this
can
size.
hold. You can hold it. I've served the tomahawk and the ribeye and the fillet.
That must have been one of those small tomahawks. That was one of those sick cows, man. That was one of those sick. Shout out to the sick cows out here, man. The little baby with 16-ounce tomahawks.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, right? I feel you what you're saying.
You know.
No, it's definitely it's a give and take, and it's more so about giving your all.
Yeah.
To certain things in their delegated times.
Yeah.
Giving 100%. And if that's considered balanced to you, cool. If you don't consider that to be balanced, cool. At the end of the day, make sure that you just have intentional time. And during that intentional time, you are giving everything that you have to what you have set aside to be in that moment.
I agree with that.
So date night is one of those.
Yeah.
Family movie night is another one which the kids love and look forward to.
Yeah. Vacations. Taking vacations is huge too. Getting out of the way.
Put a clap on for vacations. Because we believe in If y'all know us, you know we vacation. Vacationing is really important. It's important. Okay, so here's why it's important to me, and then you can say why it's important to you. One of the main reasons why it's important to me is because it is a change of scenery. You're changing your location. which brings in a different set of emotions. It brings in a different mind frame for you, a different mindset. You know, dating is great, and movie night and stuff is also a great and intentional, but vacation, you actually are removing yourself from what is normal for you, and you're taking it, you know, you're taking your relationship or your family to a whole nother environment, which allows you to just experience different things. And a lot of the things that I said about date night and family night, you know, can translate over to vacation time too. It's just intentional time. It's just a different atmosphere. So like things are going to be a lot more fun. Things are going to be a lot more sexy. It's going to be different things to do. So I think vacationing is so important to just reset. Vacations act as a reset for me. Like when life can be so crazy, you get to just literally take your mind and physical body somewhere completely different.
Okay.
That's
I
me.
mean, yeah, that's what a vacation is. Ultimately, you explained. That's why vacations are important
Yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah.
You need to switch up that environment, get different perspectives on, you know, your life. You can come back to your work different, come back to your relationship different, and even being away, being in a different environment. Sometimes we do staycations. We might just get a room in the same city, right?
Facts.
In that night, in that room or whatever.
It's going down in that room, I tell you what.
My mama listened to this.
She know it's going down. We got a whole child. She know that didn't just happen by accident.
I don't even know what I was talking about no more.
Sorry.
Man.
You just said sometimes we do staycations.
Yeah,
too.
man.
Just said-
Yeah, we do a steak. I was just talking about, you know, the sleep be better.
He's put the laughs on. Where's the
Because,
laugh?
man, I don't even, yeah, it costs you money too, which is also why staycations can be cool too, because
Right.
then you could take the kids as well. They might have a pool in there or something like that, but just getting in a different environment and having different experiences together, that definitely helps out. So we talking about balance, how we balance in our relationship and our music career. What about work? When, especially, you know, to me, when I got all of our work, like my work is your work, and you know, like we do the same thing. We're in the same industry, so how does that work out between us, in your opinion, between, you know, me being an engineer, you being a singer, and
Yeah.
also having a family and being in marriage together?
So I would say there's some cliches out there, right? I already tapped on one. The other cliche is don't mix business and pleasure. This is like something that you may hear a lot from people. And I think that is like the most nonsense, right? To me, that's one of the cliches that's the most stupid. And I think that's dumb because I think it's important to lean into the natural chemistry that you have with your spouse, right? When you go into business with somebody, you want to go into business with someone that you have a chemistry with, somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, and you guys are, you know, you have the similar goals, you're goal oriented, you're the yin to the yang, right?
Yep.
Who better to bounce ideas off of, to yin and yang with, than your spouse, your life partner, right? And marriage in and of itself is a business. I'm sorry to break it to you. They say don't go mix business and pleasure, when the whole institution of marriage is the biggest business in this country,
For
right?
sure.
So it makes no sense. I think that you're doing yourself a disservice almost if you don't create something.
So you should only marry somebody that you can go into business with. If y'all
mean,
can't go into business together,
then that's not the one.
what y'all doing? Y'all
What
just
y'all
love
doing?
each other?
I mean, and that,
Yeah.
that's cool and all that, but what can you build together that will yes, your marriage will last, and you know, hopefully, God willing. But what can you build together that will stand the test of time? And a business is that. So I think for us, it again organically happened. It started out where when we were dating, he's an engineer, I'm a singer. It was a no-brainer that we would work together, right? Because he respected my talent and I respected his talent. So it was exciting early on. When we could get time to work together, it was exciting. And so we learned each other in that way early on. We learned, like, he learned how I record. I learned how he records as an engineer. He learned my writing style to the point where he could like feed me lines that maybe, hey, maybe say this word instead of that word, which to this day we do when we record. You know, he's constantly switching out words because your engineer hears different from how you hear in the booth and all that. So the fact that we built our relationship on working together from early on, I think for us, it was definitely a no-brainer that we extend it beyond just recording songs, and we use that chemistry to build businesses as well.
Very insightful. Definitely very insightful. For sure. I totally agree with that. Kind of part of what I was saying earlier too, I was like, what did I say? I don't want it to get misunderstood. Is the part where I just said, you pretty much like if y'all not starting a business together, then like what y'all together for? Like right. And honestly, it doesn't really have to be like a business because starting a family is a business, right? And the product of that family is the children. So like even raising children could be the product of it, right? And I'm still old school in that sense too, to where like but the kids too they bring in something like that. This is our crop. Like what are they
bring value to the table,
to the family, right? To grow the family name, to bring more prestige, more value, more economic opportunities to the family's name as a whole. So so that's definitely what marriage. We got to think about that more. Like when we are getting to it, and like you said though, it wasn't necessarily super intentional. To me, it kind of was. I can't say that it wasn't. Like, I mean, I kind of intentionally wanted to. I knew that I was aligning myself properly. I knew I wasn't making a mistake here. I was like, all right, cool. I'm making some proper alignments. Like, you're immensely talented and driven, and so like, okay, you're gonna definitely have the drive and stuff to where I see myself in the future. That you would match that,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
No, for
you
sure.
Equally are driven, so that was always there. So just having that kind of being on the same page as far as having goals, setting stuff, and working towards what we want. That was always that's definitely important. And to me though, that part was intentional. And so just having and setting intention is kind of like a vision plan. Like you write, like I'm super big, on like doing vision boards and also writing down goals and mapping out and visualizing the future, because I just know that it works. I've seen it happen time and time again.
It works. Something I learned early because I am a woman of faith, and the Bible literally says it. Write the vision, make it plain.
Yeah.
That's in the book. Like, make it plain means layman's terms.
Yeah.
Be specific. This is what I want. This is what my intention is, so it's not just about being vague.
Yeah, and an easy way to do that, a way to make it easier, is for us to begin with the end in mind. Like before you start your endeavor, you want to begin with the ending in mind. Paint the picture of the victory. Like, what does it look like once you at where you at, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, the universe, the energies, and all your actions will lead you to get to that place. Like, we don't need to know every single step that's going to get us there. But at the end of the day, this is the promised land. And so now my actions, my missions, the people that I invite into my life, and to my space, are only going to help me to get to that place that I visualize as being the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we won't gel. We're not going to line. There's going to be something about you that I just can't get with, because I'm already locked in to go this way, and you pulling me this way, and so it's not going to work, you know? But having your own vision, having your own goal, for sure, that's how you can make sure that you are aligning with people that help you to that next level, or even compliment you along the way.
Yes.
And when I say compliment too, when somebody compliments you, they add to what you don't have, right? So where
the yin and the yang.
The yin and the yang. So where we be talking about this the other day. So I'm not the most people person, bubbly. I don't want to always be out in people's face. Hey, how y'all doing? Shaking hand, kissing babies. Like, no, I'm more like, I'm a chill. But you are very, personable. People like you, and y'all want to talk and do all this stuff. So Now you can represent me while I'm back here.
Well,
you know?
he's at the house. Right. If I'm outside, you outside. And that's something that I notice really works. You know, when I'm winning, people congratulate us both.
Shout out to you winning, man, because you was winning all over the place. Hey, I was at Starbucks this morning. I ain't even tell you. I was at Starbucks picking up my tea, man. No shout out to Starbucks though, because they ain't sponsoring us yet. But
Right.
I was picking up my tea, and then so I looked on the table while I was waiting, and I see a St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and here you go on the front page of the newspaper again. Like,
I
come
know.
on, would you chill out with all this press?
But that was, you know, that was the power of yes. I got asked to do something, and I said yes. And so we could do a whole podcast episode on the power of yes.
And then we need to do one on the power of no.
No, yes, no, facts, because they're both equally as important. It's okay to say no. And then also there are times where you know, you just have to learn and know in your spirit when it's something, because I knew that this opportunity was for me, like that I was supposed to do it. So I did it. It didn't hurt me any. I was able to serve people. And because of it, I wound up on the cover of the paper. You know, and it's just a testimony that when you do things from the kindness of your heart, God will find a way to bless you for it. So that's a whole separate subject, but for sure.
Take me to church.
Not the gunshot.
No, I just knew that it was rhythmic.
But I think that it's amazing that, like, you know, when I win, people congratulate you. And when you win, people congratulate me.
As they should.
Yeah, because they see that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a team effort for sure. Like no matter what, even if you're not there, you playing some role in the background, and likewise, you know. So it's definitely a team, man. Shout out to my whole team, man. Shout out to my wife. Shout out to my production crew. We got Eric over there. We got Jay Jones in the building, man. Shout out to Sweetwater too for sponsoring this episode.
Yes. So I just want you guys to take away for sure, like one of the main takeaways is that it's important who you align yourself with, right? So if you're watching, because I'm sure not everybody's married. If you are dating or looking to date, it's important, like Wayne said, keep the end in mind, right? Where you know where you want to begin with the end in mind. You know where you want to be and wind up, and so make sure that when you get married and when you choose that person, that it's someone who can fit into that picture. Yeah. You know, I think that a lot of people get into trouble because they don't do that. You know, a lot of people move on emotions and in the moment feelings, and those can be fleeting. So it's important to, when you're in this space of dating and courting and all that, that you wind up choosing somebody that
do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence. Know what you're getting into, and know that, like Lydia was saying earlier, that getting into a marriage is a business.
Yeah.
It really is a business. Like you go into the courthouse, you signing papers. You are entering into a legally binding contract. Like,
yeah,
you know.
are. You literally are.
Yeah, so.
And everything you do in between is going to be affected. If you do choose to separate, you're going to have a lot to deal with. So just make sure that you're aligning yourself with somebody that you're okay with being in your life forever in some capacity. So let's talk about kids.
Kids.
Oh, how kids fit into this into this situation. You know, when is the right time to have kids? That may be a question that you have. And so for us, when we came together, there was already kids in this situation, right? So we immediately adopted bonus children in our relationship.
Right.
And in the beginning, Wayne was heavy on the pressure to bring another child into the world.
Oh.
Early on, he was like, I want another one. And I was just like, whoa, we got kids. We good. I was a little bit more hesitant to have another child earlier. And that may be a point of contention. And, you know, it wasn't like a huge issue for us, but it definitely came up. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I know people out there, you guys may be dealing with that as well. Like one person wants kids now and the other person doesn't.
Y'all gotta plan it. Talk about it before, for sure. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Kind of know where each member of y'all relationship stands on children. You know what I'm saying? When do y'all plan? How many? And be serious about it. And
Yeah.
because
And it's,
I still want 10 kids.
oh my God. I'm doing the math, right? And the way the equation is set up, I don't know if we ever go see, we could always adopt.
We could.
And I mean, I definitely might have one more in me for you, but that's about it. One more. One more.
All right, let's end this podcast. We gotta go.
We got work to do. No, but but for sure it's important to have that conversation early.
Right.
Because like I said, like Wayne said, beginning with the end in mind, if you want kids and the person you with don't want kids, you might as well just cut that thing down right now, because it's gonna be issues that's gonna come up forever in your relationship, right? We always knew that we wanted to have more children, so it worked out. And while earlier he may have wanted a child before I was ready, I always knew that it was gonna come down to more children, right? Mm-hmm. And for me personally, I just wanted to get to a place of financial stability where I felt comfortable.
Okay.
And that was me. And I would tell that to Wayne all the time. And he'd be like, we good no matter. Early on, he was like, we good. And I was like, no, we not that good.
She's trying to kill me out here. What happened to love, man? Don't it all it take is love to raise a child? No?
No.
Oh, I thought it just took love
Nope.
to raise a kid.
It takes a little bit more than love.
Oh,
so once
man.
we got to a certain place, I felt like, okay.
See, she all about the money, y'all.
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap. See, he knew I'm not all about the money. I'm not, but I mean, bringing a child into the world can really add. It can add so much beauty to your relationship, because I mean, Amara has really added to not that our other kids, Kaylee and Mason, don't bring us so much joy, but naturally though they're from different relationships, so it's something different with Amara. She's a product of us, and she's brought us so much joy and happiness, and I feel like it's part of it is also because we were ready. I mean, I know for sure I was ready. Ladies, make sure you're ready, because it's a lot. It's a lot on the women. So it's important to just be there mentally, be in a space where you know that you're going to be able to be a good mom and wife still. Once your baby comes, you're not going to be going crazy with depression and all that, because that can happen.
Yeah.
So timing is important when it comes to having kids, and just make sure that you're communicating. Communication is everything when it comes to bringing kids into the world. So make sure that you and your spouse are really talking it through. And I think everything will be okay if you're just having those conversations. I can't stress enough, in everything when it comes to music, money, marriage, y'all got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which isn't always the easiest thing to do.
It ain't, but we talk about it. Some conversations get tough, but I think the whole fruit of it comes down to just planning stuff out, having what you want in mind, sharing those ideas with your partner, both of y'all taking full accountability for the success of the family.
Yeah.
And being willing to step up and do whatever it takes to make it happen. And that's really how we do. So that's just back to my point of being unbalanced, just going 100% all the time, not us trying to balance, between what we giving, but everybody just giving everything that we got all the time. But yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Any last
So
tidbits that
the last
you want
tidbit
to leave
that I
for
would
the
have
people?
to say is on balancing your music career, your marriage, your family.
What about finances?
Your finances, I mean, that's the same thing. What you mean, between two people, how should they manage their finances? I think, oh man, we're gonna have to get a financial advisor on here for that. I don't want to have to.
I mean, budgeting for sure. Budgeting.
Definitely got to have your budget, but y'all, I mean, just talk about it.
Constant communication.
Make sure y'all on the same page.
Listen, I waited tables for a long time, right? And I did a lot of anniversaries. like people would be there celebrating, and I would always ask every time. I would say, okay, what's the secret?
Yeah.
For however, if it was a 5-year anniversary or a 30-year anniversary, I would ask the question. And oh my God, literally, I would say 90% of the people said communication.
That's because that's a weak answer, though.
It is weak. No, you know what? You know what? Here's the craziest thing is, it started to seem cliche to me.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, the root of almost every single disagreement that we have, when we disagree or if we have a bad fight or something, the root of it is communication. We didn't properly communicate something to one another. You took something that I said a different way, and I took something that you said a different way. The communication lines got crossed.
I never take nothing
Shut
that
up.
you said a different way. You always be
Y'all, come get him.
my words.
Come
though.
get him. Please
I
come
know
get
that
him.
That's not part of what I do, y'all.
This is definitely part of what he does. Okay, this is what he does.
That's what we gonna do.
That's what we gonna do. But I'm being honest, like,
Yeah.
so while it seems like a really cliche answer, it's really true. I feel that, like, if you can learn how to better effectively communicate, because you can be talking at your spouse forever and they'll never hear you. You know, you can be arguing, that's communicating too, but not hearing one another. You're saying what you're saying, I'm saying what I'm saying, we both not listening. I'm listening to me, you listening to you, but are we listening to each other, right? So in every avenue of your marriage, the key to success I can see is not just communicating, is mastering communication. Which is it easy? No, it's not. It's not. Communicating is one thing, but are you communicating well? Is the question. So all those people said communication when they should have been saying, you know, we've learning to master communicating with each other. And that takes time. It takes selflessness. It may take therapy, you know, and it takes there's many streets and roads to get to the mastering of communication. And as a team, you have to find out how to do that.
Right. I rock with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's my takeaway.
That's your takeaway.
Learn how to master communication and everything gonna be okay.
I rock with that, man. I think, you got anything else that we need to share today?
No.
I think that's a good little breakdown on kind of balancing our relationship. That's how we do it. We set intentional time for each other, try to communicate as much as possible with each other about our expectations. When you share your expectations, you avoid conflictations. I was trying to make a good quotable. That's not a word? Hold on. What's how you say?
When you tell your expectations, you avoid
confrontation.
There you go.
Give it up for the confrontations, man. When you express your expectations, you avoid the confrontations. And I'm Wavy Wayne from WavyWayne.com.
I'm Lydia Caesar from EverythingLydia.com.
This is the Married to Music podcast where we talk about the 3 M's.
Music.
Money.
Marriage. We getting our M's up.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Tuning in,
toning in, all that.
Shout out to Sweetwater.
Tuning in every Monday. Yeah.
We'll catch y'all next Monday.
We're not trying. We getting them up. We getting them up. Hey, come on.
Peace.